Welcome to the Life Giving Leader Podcast. Well, hello, all you life-giving leaders out there. So good to have you back on the Life Giving Leader Podcast. I think we're about halfway through here, this first run of episodes. I think this is episode 7 or 8. See, I already lost track, guys. I think it's 8. But today, I've got my friend Devon Franklin coming up in just a few minutes. Great leader, Hollywood producer, author, husband, and just an amazing communicator. And we had a great conversation. Again, this was a few weeks back, so we didn't really get to dive into some of the things that are happening in culture currently these last week to 2 weeks with George Floyd and everything else. But Devon is a leader that I look to and a friend that I respect beyond belief. And he's a man of color who has helped me see perspective and continues to stay close as a close friend and someone who always makes time, even though he might be one of the busiest people I know. But again, this episode is brought to you by Retro 8 Films. If you need video, whether it is small films for a service that you're creating, an event that you're doing, or if it is a large-scale project and branding, these guys can help you with every bit of it. Connect with my friends at retro8films.com. If you're a church leader, I'm telling you, call Ryan, call the team, connect with them, and they can help you create some of the most beautiful films and video that you've ever seen, and I know you won't regret it. So my family and I are about to head out on a little vacay, and we're already in June, by the way, if you're not keeping up. And if you want to send cards, both my son Charlie and I, this is our birthday month, so just go ahead and send those over. You can just text them to me, email me, Venmo. I can give you that if you want, whatever you want to do. But anyway, I just want to say thank you for being a part of this podcast. Thank you for being a part of this family, and I love getting to do this. And so. Today is an episode that I just felt like was important to share. Devon, again, has been a friend. We met a few years back when he spoke at Catalyst, but one of the coolest moments I've had with Devon, we went to church at Passion City one Sunday and then got to see the premiere or the kind of a sneak peek into the movie Breakthrough, which was he was the executive producer on. And I just loved watching him in that environment. And I got to sit with my friends Jay and Catherine Wolf from Hope Heals, and we sat and watched him say until the entire crowd was gone. But he stayed with everyone, met them, introduced himself, talked to them, answered their questions, and I just saw so much kindness and respect in the way that he did that. And so I'm just so thankful for him. I'm thankful for the way he loves people well, and I'm thankful for the way he's loved me well and been a huge supporter of mine. And so, as we try to walk through and navigate these really tricky times, I think when you have friends in your life, like a Devon and mine, who I can ask any question to, who we can have open conversations with, and more than anything, just know that he loves me, and I know that I love him. I'm grateful for him and for Megan. And anyway, so this was an awesome conversation just about what it means to lead healthy leaders, what it means to lead a great organization and bring life to those around you, and what it means to be a communicator and to be someone who is getting dragged a little bit more and more into the Christian space in terms of communication and writing. And so really enjoyed this conversation with Devon Franklin. Welcome to the Life Giving Leader Podcast. Today I have a special guest. I say that every time. You're all special. You're special to me, deep down. And but this is a friend of mine. We become friends a few years ago and have just stayed in contact because I'm a huge fan and proponent and advocate for what he's doing and the way he does it. And that is Devon Franklin, all the way from the West Coast. How we doing, Devon?
We're doing good. We're alive and the sun is shining, so can't complain.
Well, I am there's throughout my time at Catalyst and just getting to know people and speakers, communicators, there's always been a few that I just made a connection with relationally and stayed friends with. And you're one of those, at least that's on my side. You could be faking it.
Oh, for sure. Without a doubt, man.
But man, I just,
locked in.
I know I love watching how you lead in Hollywood, how you've led your family well. And you're just continuing to do that based on faith and some of those things. But for those who might not know you, Devon, why don't you give everybody a little update or a little bit of background on who you are and kind of how you landed in the world you're in now?
Sure. I'm a producer. I make films and TV shows. I have a deal with Paramount, Netflix, and I just closed a deal with CBS, which is great. I'm also an author. I've authored 4 books so far, and just set up my next 2, which I'm excited about.
Because you need something else to do, right? You're bored.
Man, I need something else to do. I haven't done enough, bro. I'm telling you, man, come on. And I also, I'm also preacher. I preach on the side. I've been preaching since I was 15, and I also do a lot of TV. So I don't know it's hard when people ask me why.
I know.
I don't know. I just me. That's all I am. I'm just me. I'm committed to inspiring people.
Yeah.
Really motivating people to live in their full purpose and according to their divine design, almost like a motivational mechanic. When something's not right, just get in there and say, "Oh, here's what we got to fix in order for your life to be where it needs to be."
Yeah.
And I've been in Hollywood for 24 years, since I was 18 years old, and so Hollywood has really been the tree of my career, and then the branches of author and preacher and everything else has kind of grown out from that tree.
Yeah. And it seems like storytelling is pretty central to your career and to your life. And why do you love that so much? And even as you write, even though it's a little more nonfiction, you're still doing it in a way that digs deep into our own story. And I want to talk in a minute about the unique thing that you said about our unique divine kind of, makeup and what God has for us. Because you and I have talked about that for days. But why is storytelling? Why did that grab a hold of you so early on and you pursue that?
Yeah, I think storytelling is our universal language. I think that all of us, no matter race, no matter ethnicity, no matter geographic location, storytelling is our universal language. When you go back to the Bible, in the beginning, God created. It's written as a story.
Yeah.
And so that idea that storytelling is kind of in our DNA, I'm no exception to the power of it. And so as a kid, growing up, I grew up in Northern California, and my father passed away when I was 9 years old. And I'm a middle child of 3 boys. And one of the things that got me through that period of time, along with going to church, was movies, watching movies and television. And so as a result, storytelling at that point in time really helped me heal. And so I really felt like, if it helped me heal, maybe it can help others heal. And that was one of the reasons why I was so motivated to use storytelling as a device to bring as many different people together in order to find their calling, live according to God's plan and purpose for their life.
That's good. And it does, I don't know if you know Donald Miller, but he has a whole thing called Story.
Yeah, of course. I don't know him personally. I can't wait to meet him, but I'm a huge fan from afar.
Well, we need to make that happen. But I love how he talks about these arcs in story. And I think what's hard is how do we put ourselves in a story of our own life and go, and one of the things he talks about is bad stories don't have the hero is the wrong person, and the hero is the goal in a good story is that you become the hero in the story, that the main character becomes the hero. And I think what I've loved about your writing too, Devon, is you've really fought, whether it's in marriage, whether it's just in faith, that you fought for putting the hero on the right shoulders. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And even as you produced the movie Breakthrough, and I remember watching that with you and seeing just some incredible heroes in that story, but watching this kid fight and watching his mom fight for him, I just think you're an incredible storyteller, and I think it's so important. So let me ask you this. So let's talk leadership. Let's switch gears for a second. When you hear the phrase life-giving leader, what's a characteristic or attribute of that kind of leader in your mind?
A life-giving leader, I would say one of the main attributes, selflessness. I mean, I think that if you're giving life, it requires an act of selflessness and sacrifice that not everyone is willing to make. And I think that's what separates those that do from those that don't. Yeah. It's very, very important to be a life-giving leader, to make sacrifices that others may never see. And sometimes put yourself to the side in order to meet the need that's required.
Yeah. I know you have a few different teams. When you think about your team and you think about how do you want to pour life into them, what's 1 or 2 practices that you have maybe on a consistent basis? Maybe you've only done it once or twice, but you've seen fruit from, doing this, what's something you've done with your team that you go, gosh, I'll do this as long as I can because it works?
I'm working on giving more positive feedback and acknowledging, as much as I don't have a problem acknowledging things that aren't right. I want to, acknowledge those things that are going well and that are good. So I'm really working on that. And I do see a positive result when I do that. As a leader, it's the thing I have to remember is to, we may see the vision in our head. It's like, okay, if you're a Picasso, you're painting the picture, what it looks like. But if you're asking people to give you certain colors and certain types of brushes, they don't see the same picture. So it's really hard if you're holding them accountable to see something that only you can see. So affirming them and affirming their role and affirming jobs well done is something that does produce a positive result for sure. And it's something that I work on doing. I've done it and I continue to do it, and I want to do it even more. So that's something that really, really matters.
That's good.
And then also open feedback, really including people in the conversation, talking to them, saying, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Getting their feedback. Whether I know what I'm going to do or not, still letting someone voice an opinion makes them feel more included. And I think that you can't undervalue the power of inclusion.
Totally.
Because so often people, when they don't feel included, either they'll check out or they'll start to inadvertently work against you.
Yeah.
So, I do my best to try to include as many people as I possibly can in for those that I employ, so that they feel like they're a part of it and that they have a say as much as I have a say.
Well, it makes a huge difference, because if your team is only being handed something to do, but they never heard the little layers of why we're doing that or where it came from, like that happens all the time in organizations, doesn't it? Like, here you go, just go do this and make it great. Okay, but wait, why? What are we doing?
Right.
So, and even you live in the creative world, and a lot of what you do, that's mission critical for creatives, isn't it? Like, it can't just be an execution thing. You got to handle vision with it. Have you learned how to do that and really try to hand that vision, that thing that you see in your head, down to some other people?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
What I'm learning or have learned is that, vision is in this context twofold. One is the vision that I see, and two, it's the vision that I see for each person that works for me.
That's good.
So, it's sometimes, I think leaders only get caught up in their vision, and that's cool. You can get a lot of people to plug into your vision, but also when you can cast vision over the people that work for you and say, hey, I have a vision for you. Here's what I see you growing into. Here are the opportunities, and let's work towards getting you there. So if that's where you want to be, I can help you get there, but you got to commit to the process. Here's what it looks like. And I believe that if each one is achieving that vision that I see, then it works towards the overall vision.
Gotcha.
Because sometimes leaders work so much on the overall vision that they do it at the expense of pouring vision into those that work for them.
Yep.
And a lot of times people give all their life, they give their energy, their hope. And it doesn't mean that the missions that they're committed to aren't good, they're worthwhile. But vision never gets cast on their life. They never get a sense of, oh, well, this is right. This was a part of my vision too. I want anyone that works with me or for me to feel like it's a part of their calling as well. So
that's huge.
That's a really important key with that.
And next time somebody asks you what's life-giving, that's life-giving, Devon, because it's counter, man. It's not, the world doesn't do that. You know what I mean? Like most businesses, most places, they're hiring you. They feel like their thinks is giving you a paycheck. But what you're saying is, if you're part of this circle, I care more about you, not just what you do for me. And that's become very evident as you've led. And I would also say one of the things you're most life-giving in is your marriage. It's clear to me how much you love Megan, how much you care about y'all's marriage, and you've even written books on it. Talk for a second. Well, first of all, how did you and Megan meet, and then talk a little bit about why the marriage, covenant, why you two are fighting for marriage and doing that publicly on a consistent basis.
Sure. We met when I was an executive for Sony Pictures. We met years and years ago, probably at this point, maybe 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But it was just on a general meeting, very professional. And then I did a film for Sony called Jumping the Broom that I was the executive. I oversaw the film, and then her and I reconnected on that movie. And then about a year later, we started dating.
Yeah.
And so, we've been married for 8 years as of this June, which is a blessing. And so, for us, it really was just like, all right, God has blessed us with a story. He's blessed us with some knowledge, and we want to share it because we see singles really struggling. We see marriages struggling, and by no means do we have, are we the authority on marriage? I mean, we ain't been married long enough. I think you got to be at least 10 in the game for it to be a real authority. So
this year's 19 for us, for the Reagan clan over
so
here.
You are fully an authority.
That's right.
Come on.
That's right. I can be an authority on that and Georgia football. That's it. That's all I got for you.
Hey, I love it. Nothing wrong with that. So for us, it was we wanted to share our story to help. Yeah. That was really what it was about. Like, hey, we're not experts. We don't have it all figured out, but let's share what we do know. And the blessing is that it's been incredibly well received. We've been able to help so many people. And we just feel like that transparency leads to transformation. And there's not a lot of transparency when it comes to marriage and how to do it. So we just wanted to really help in that regard.
Has it surprised you guys at all? Because you were in this career path, Hollywood, you were doing movies, you're doing this thing. And all of a sudden, there's this trickle over into ministry. All of a sudden, there's this, I wouldn't say all of a sudden, but you understand what I'm saying, like more opportunities to preach, more opportunities to speak at things on faith, not just what you do for a living. And you and Megan both have continued to be open about your faith, but it seems like over these last 5-7 years, all of a sudden there's more opportunity right in front of you. Has that been an interesting adjustment for you?
I mean, it's weird. It hasn't. It really hasn't. Because I think that this is who I've always been. I think that I've always been a naturally gifted speaker. That's just what God has given me.
And let me just affirm that you're one of the best communicators I know. Like when you at Catalyst Atlanta, man, that leopard shirt you had on or whatever that thing was, it was not dry when you were done because you were bringing thunder.
Thank you, man. I forgot all about that. We had a good time.
We did have a good time.
Not everybody was ready, but we had a good time.
That's not unusual for the record.
But so I've always naturally been able to do that. So for me, once these opportunities started to manifest and come about and grow, it wasn't odd. It was like it just felt like a natural extension of what I had already been doing. It just so happened for me, I always knew this is who I was, and even as a middle schooler, I was student body president and giving people advice and preaching at church and leading the youth choir and all these things. It was just that I believe God was calling me to Hollywood. So I really focused on Hollywood as being the foundation, but I never lost sight of the gifts that I already had.
That's good.
So as the Hollywood piece began to settle, it really then allowed me to do more opportunities like this. And the blessing, though, is that the more opportunities to communicate, the more opportunities to help people, it all helps everything. Because, like a breakthrough, because I'm an effective communicator and I have an audience, that really helps the movie. It helps draw people to the movie. The fact that I'm doing movies helps bring people to the audience. So everything starts to work together. And the more that I understood that, the more that I saw, this is all part of the picture.
It's not different things.
I'm not doing one thing over here, one thing over here. It's all part of it.
Yeah. I remember sitting at Houston's in Atlanta. We'd gone to church together, and then we were sitting and chatting. And you were talking to me about, The Truth About Men, one of your books. And I just remember it was the two things I want to talk about is one is that unique thing that we just talked about a minute ago, but also why did you feel at this time it was necessary for you to write a book specifically to men?
Yeah, I wanted to write a book for men because, I thought coming out of the whole Me Too, movement, and as that gained momentum and the Harvey Weinstein of it all, I just felt like, there weren't any instructive or constructive manuals out there, modern manuals. I mean, obviously there's great books about manhood that have been written over the years, and some phenomenal ones. But when it came to how do we navigate manhood in this modern era, I didn't feel like that existed, especially with, a mainstream yet faith point of view. And so that's why I wanted to write my book, The Truth About Men, to help address that need, because there are so many issues that go on in us as men that we're just not honest about, we don't talk about, we don't tell anybody about, and we don't have an outlet all the time on how to really get these things out from underneath the surface and figure out how to navigate them. Most men suffer in silence. Most men, have these thoughts or feelings, don't know who to turn to, don't know who to trust. So they suppress them. They come out in negative ways and vices and so on and so forth. So I wanted to write this book as a way to help every man become a more effective man by getting control, learning how to love and getting control of lust.
So if somebody else, some other man had a chance to sit with you at Houston's like I did, and they just said, they looked at you, Devon, they were like, man, I'm kind of lost as a man right now. I don't even know what it looks like to be a man right now. What's one or two things that you would just jump in and say, well, listen, here's what it looks like?
Yeah, I would say, here's what manhood looks like. Manhood looks like service. So let's just for a moment, let's go back to Genesis for a minute. And you look at Genesis chapter 2 and the creation of man, and it says that the Garden of Eden was formed, and then man was put into the garden to serve the garden. Interesting, to work it. So immediately, us as men providing service is in our DNA. So as a man, if we are not serving, we're going to find ourselves out of sorts. What then begins to happen? As a man, we are conditioned that we are to be served. So then we learn that manhood is on my terms, right? The other thing that happens is when I think that I'm supposed to be served, one of the areas where that becomes most destructive is in our lust. Most men have a desire for, and lust is more than just a desire for women or sex. That includes it, but money, power, fame, whatever that you're seeking through detrimental means as men, that's our lust. So if you're a man that's out of sorts, I would say, let's look at your service, and let's look at how you're servicing, and also what's going on with your lust. What is the process that you have in place to deal with those emotions, those impulses, those negative impulses that could be running and ruining your life. As a man, when we get control over those two areas, there's nothing we can't do. And this book, The Truth About Men, is all about how to do that. And again, I use my life, and again, I'm still working on myself every day. I don't sit there and say, hey, I did it. It's all good. It's a lifelong process. We have to learn how, and that learning how to serve, that's about love, right? Adam loved the garden. Adam loved God. So he served. He took care of it. Anything we love, we take care of and we provide. But that lust is like a weed in our garden. It wants to get up and destroy. Why? Because lust says, no, feed me. That's what lust is. Feed me. Feed me. Feed me. I don't care about anybody else. Feed me. So as men, we got to take care of this garden that we've been given by doing everything we can to pull out the weeds of lust so they don't disrupt the beauty that God is trying to create in us.
Yeah, good. We could talk about that a long time. That's really good, Devon. I think if somebody was didn't know you well and they were like, oh, is he a Christian? Does he have faith? They haven't seen your Instagram, because you spend a lot of time praying on your Instagram. Like, I love that. Where did that come from for you? What kind of made you go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use the influence I have online, and I'm going to pray for people. Like, where did that come from?
You know what? It's weird. I don't know. There was something that happened. It was definitely over a year ago. I was in Atlanta. And I was in I think it was at the St. Regis, and I was there for something. I cannot remember. It may have been breakthrough related. I don't remember. And I done a prayer online. I done a prayer for whatever the cause was. And then my friend of mine, he hit me up. He was like, man, that prayer was great. You should really do more of that. He said, people really need that. And I said, really? And he said, yeah, you should do it, man. So I said, okay. And
Sure.
I've started doing them. I do them once a week, every Sunday. And Tyler, man, listen, I had no idea. I mean, I had no idea that there was such a need. I mean, these prayers, there's these prayers cumulatively millions and millions and millions of views, of views. I mean, when I travel, more people come up to me about my Instagram prayers than being married to Megan, than books,
Right.
than being on TV. It's
Right.
unbelievable. Because I think the thing about social media, right, is social media is a me-driven medium. It's like,
Yep.
okay, I'm posting about me. The prayers ain't got nothing to do with me. They're about whoever's watching.
Yep.
And so it's weird that you would take a medium like social media and you would do something that's for the viewer, and it's not promotional or anything. And I think part of that just cuts through.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if I post the prayer on Instagram,
Yep.
Facebook, Twitter, it just cuts through. And it's a blessing to be able to meet a need.
Yep.
And I also think that it comes from an unconventional place.
Yep.
So I had one pastor tell me, he's like, man, you praying for more people than I'm praying for. He said, whoa, it's like, man.
Wait, that's not your job, Devon.
Right, exactly.
Because it should fall only on certain people, for the record. But whatever, I'm kidding. I love you. I think what you said is exactly right. I think people can't even put their finger on why they like it, because it's different. You know what I mean? It's almost like, what? It puts them out of sorts a little bit. Like, wait, you praying for me? It's like you just mentioned The Blessing earlier. You know that song that Elevation just released a few weeks ago called The Blessing. I don't know if you've heard it or not, but the reason I think that song has exploded is because even as you can watch the worship leaders when they're singing it, it is fully about singing it for the people that they're leading. Does that make sense? Wow. So it's not about me. It's about, and it's straight from Scripture, which tends to be God to us. It's one of those things. So I think that's an incredible insight that maybe we would have overlooked if we not dug into that a little bit. I love one last question. I'm going to do a couple of lightning questions with you, but what's stirring in you right now? What's that content piece or that thing, or maybe what's God doing in you right now that you're going, gosh, there's a thing. I know you're just saying you got a few more books coming your way, and I don't know if you want to share any of that, but what can you not get out of your head right now?
I just can't get out of my head, man. We are, we're in a war. We're in a war for the hearts and minds and the souls of the people. And, when you look at everything that's going on with the pandemic and the virus, lives being changed, turned upside down every moment of every day, the thing that is the anchor is how our mindset, our connection to God. And I feel like right now, that's what's on my heart is like, okay, how in the world can I continue to be useful and use everything that God has given me to help? Because we're in a time that's getting darker. When you look at the news, when you look at what's going on in the world, there's a darkness, but I also feel God's presence and I feel the light. Yeah. But I feel a real urgency to help as many people as I possibly can and partner with those that have the same mission to help people keep their spirits right, to keep focused on God, to understand also how to walk this out. I think too often, I'm not against theology, even though I'm not a theologian by any stretch of the imagination. But I also think that sometimes in teaching the Word of God theologically, there sometimes is a gap on how to apply it practically.
Yeah.
And right now, people need practical application. How do I do this? So that way I can make it through. And so I just feel an urgency that we're fighting for the hearts, the minds, and souls of people. We're in a war. We're in a war against, negativity. We're in a war against the forces that want people to turn against God. And so I'm compelled every day. That's why I do what I do. And that's reason why I do it. Yep. Because I'm just compelled that we've got to help people who don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
They're willing, but they don't always know. And then there's some that don't know at all. So I just feel compelled to help in that regard.
That's good. That's good. All right, here we go. You ready? Quick 4 lightning questions. Here we go. Best marriage advice you've ever been given?
She's right.
Yeah, enough said right there. That's it.
She's always right.
Now, this is a great question for you because you're in movie industry. What's your favorite movie of all time?
My favorite movie is The Color Purple.
Oh, wow.
The Color Purple. Yeah, favorite.
I need to watch that again. I'm glad you just said that because I haven't seen it in a long time. That's great.
That's my movie. Ooh, geez, I love it.
Help me. Best leadership advice that's helped you?
Best leadership advice was from my Aunt Donna. She said, don't burn a bridge. You never know when you have to cross it again.
Yep.
And I thought that was really good advice. And, a lot of times people get mad or they
Mm-hmm.
feel justified in how they leave a situation. But we live in a world that is very small, and it doesn't mean that you're gonna cross that bridge again, but at least keep it
But you
intact
might.
in the event that you need to.
And you're in an industry in a city that isn't good at
Whew,
that. So
no.
you can stay. I mean, that is a life-giving approach and all. I mean, that's
Yes.
awesome. Last one. If you could only listen to one band and their entire, you can have their whole catalog, but only one band, and we're going to just say for the rest of 2020, who are you going to go with? Now
What?
that's, I know. Look at you. You're nervous about it. I've been watching you making cakes and listening to music. Who would that be?
One?
Yeah.
Oh Lord, have mercy. Help me, please. Um, oh man. I mean, probably if we're talking about like a group, I guess New Edition. I'll just go with New
Come
Edition.
on. All right. I love it. I love it.
I love some New Edition.
That's
There we
great.
go. We can play
What?
them all year long.
Well, Devon, man, I'm really honored you take some time to be on this, and I'm grateful for your
Of course.
friendship. And there's a lot of people I know that just they just really appreciate your witness, the way that you share your faith, and the way that you live out the things you're writing in your books. And
Mm,
you and I've been in this world long enough to know that not every book is written in a way that it's lived out by the person that wrote it, and
yeah.
that means a lot. And the closer I've gotten to
Thank
you, the
you.
more I respect you. And so, just really grateful for your
Thank
leadership
you, brother.
and being a part.
Of course, man. Thank you, man. I'm grateful that you're doing this. It's exciting. I know God's hand is all over this new chapter of your life and career, and so I'm beyond grateful to be here and support in any way I can.
Awesome. Thank you, Devon. If you want to keep up with all things Devon, you can go to devonfranklin.com. You can see more about his movies, the things he's produced, and his books are all there. And then if you just want to keep up with him on social media, and he is fun to keep up with on social, it is at Devon, Devon, Franklin, I know on Instagram. I think most all the channels he's that. So I just have such admiration for the way he leads, the way he represents himself and his family well, the way he tries to bring health and life to the people around him, and honestly, the ways he creates films that have value deep down, that have inspiration, and he's not afraid to put his faith front and center in the way that he leads. And so, I think that's really the thought I have as we're going into the summer months: is are you leading in a way that if you wrote a book on it and people read it, they would say, "Oh yeah, that's who you are." Are you fighting for an ideal as a leader? Are you looking at ways to improve? What if this summer you became a more sophisticated, emotionally intelligent leader? And by sophisticated, I mean wise, discerning, someone who is crafty as a leader, someone who can walk through solutions with people and not create problems. And I just think maybe this is time for us as leaders to kind of reevaluate where we are and try to make something different out of this. And I'm just grateful that people like Devon in my life who can help continue to innovate and push me to be a better leader. And so, anyway, I hope you enjoyed that time. Again, if you love this podcast, if you like it, please rate it on iTunes and subscribe, enjoy, and share with your friends. We've got some great episodes coming up in the next few weeks. We've got Hope Heals. My friends Jay and Catherine Wolf are going to be on. We've got Brad Lomenick, the elusive Brad Lomenick, who I replaced at Catalyst. We're going to talk a lot about that. It was actually one of my favorite episodes I've recorded. And then my longtime friend Carlos Whitaker has a new book coming out called Enter Wild, and it is fantastic. And so we get to spend a little time with him in a couple weeks. So keep it on your calendar. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.